Everyone in the mess hall heard the slap, but no one understood why the woman didn't even flinch. Only later would they learn the truth about the insignia hidden beneath her sleeve. The confrontation erupted in broad daylight, right when the lunch line curved through the room and the chatter of hungry Marines filled the air. Plates clattered, boots scraped against the tile, and then Corporal Mason Hale, broad-shouldered, loud, already irritated from morning drills, struck the woman standing ahead of him, a sharp, open-handed hit across her arm, enough to turn a head, enough to silence an entire room. She didn't move, she simply breathed in, steady and calm, as if she had been expecting it. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. Her name was Sergeant Lena Ward. To most of the Marines on base, she looked like a young, slightly underfed new arrival. Quiet eyes, tucked hair, posture so relaxed it seemed almost unmilitary. But inside her chest, her heartbeat stayed unnaturally even. Trained through years of a program most service members didn't even know existed. And when Mason glared at her, muttering something about cuts in line, she only lifted her tray slightly, steadying the coffee cup that trembled from the aftershock of his strike. Mason expected fear. He got silence. That silence unnerved him. The mess hall felt it too. Conversations died out mid-sentence. Soldiers turned. Someone whispered, "That's the new girl from Echo Division. Is she okay?" Another murmured, "Why isn't she saying anything?" Lena could feel their eyes, and she could feel something else. The rising heat of shame and anger spreading through the room, like a slow-moving fire. She thought she'd never cross paths with a man like Mason again. She was wrong. Mason leaned in, his breath thick with frustration. "You deaf or something?" I said move. But Lena didn't step back. She didn't raise her voice. She simply spoke, her tone calm enough to make the hairs on the back of every neck stand up. "Corporal Hale, stand down." 3 words. Soft, precise, almost surgical. Mason laughed, a single ugly burst that felt too loud for the daylight pouring through the high windows. "You're giving orders now? You?" The moral tension rippled across the room. A few Marines shook their heads, unsure if they should intervene. Others feared getting involved. But something about the air shifted, light dust drifting in through an open door, catching the sun in tiny golden flecks. Even the ceiling fan seemed to slow. Then Lena's sleeve slid slightly as she adjusted her tray, and the room inhaled sharply. Underneath the fabric was a mark, a unit insignia most people had only heard about in rumors, the kind spoken quietly in barracks long after lights out. Pale silver, unmistakable. The emblem assigned to the Silent Vipers, a reconnaissance and rapid extraction unit, so advanced that even seasoned officers spoke of them with caution. Members were selected young, trained relentlessly, and deployed only when situations demanded precision beyond force. Mason's smirk died before it could finish forming. Because he knew that emblem, he knew what it meant, and he knew he had just struck someone who could dismantle him before he blinked. The crowd parted as Sergeant Daniels, the mess hall supervisors, rushed forward, but Lena simply lifted a hand, not in threat, in restraint. "Corporal Hale," she said, voice steady as sunlight. "This ends now." Her hand didn't shake, her breath didn't waver. And in that moment, surrounded by whispering Marines, under the bright afternoon glow, Mason saw what the rest saw: controlled discipline, and a level of strength that didn't need to be proven with violence. He swallowed hard. Then in a voice that barely carried, he said, "Sergeant, I didn't know." Lena nodded once. "That's the problem. You don't know who you're talking to. Not just me. Anyone." A wave of murmurs rippled through the hall. Some soldiers nodded. Others looked at their boots. Mason's posture drooped, not out of defeat, but realization. And Lena stepped forward, offering him something no one expected: her hand, a gesture of peace in a place where pride often drowned humility. Mason stared, confused, embarrassed, grateful all at once. Slowly he shook it, and in that handshake, the hall felt something shift. A lesson settling in the daylight, like dust finally falling still. Because strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's calm. Sometimes it holds its ground without ever raising a fist. Because true power doesn't need to shout. It simply stands steady when others lose control. And sometimes the quietest soldier in the room is the one who changes everything. Thank you for listening. If this story moved you, share your thoughts below. And if you want more stories like this, make sure to subscribe. Your support means the world.